International Arbitration and Mediation Center, and I'm also fellow of International Academy of Construction Lawyers. I'm director of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators India branch. I'm also founder and chairman of Society of Construction Law India branch. I sit as arbitrator and I represent parties as well in arbitrations. I also represent parties in courts in arbitration related matters, and my specialization lies in construction law and construction arbitration. I do conduct various domestic and international arbitrations. I have lots of commercial construction law arbitrations going on where I sit as arbitrator. I am doing a lot of international arbitrations presently. So, this topic, virtual arbitration and remote advocacy, is something which is very interesting, very important for the present time in which we all live in. So, may I say this? In this field of economics, hysteresis refers to an event in the economy that persists into the future, even after the factors that led to that event have been removed. The coronavirus pandemic or COVID-19 had such an effect, one that will last even after humankind finds a means to purge it. In the same way, virtual hearings and remote advocacy are here to stay long after COVID-19. In a way, COVID-19 accelerated the adoption of virtual mode for arbitration purposes and brought closure what was once considered far off. That does give rise to the question if this is adoption or adaptation in the present circumstances played by the pandemic. Whatever it may be, it is nevertheless clear that practitioners, arbitrators, and users have to up the ante and broaden their horizon of arbitration practice by learning new tools and techniques. Initially, only certain procedural sittings were conveniently held through teleconferencing, which moved to video conferencing. What we are witnessing now is a complete shift, or paradigm shift, to virtual mode of hearing from commencement of arbitration to pronouncement of final award. That apart, the virtual arbitration may potentially be considered so versatile as to fit to arbitrations of all forms and sizes. Hence, its popularity and relevance in the post-crisis scenario is utmost. In fact, we have been so caught up in this crisis that its effects sometimes go unnoticed. For example, it has radically cut down domestic and local travel time in a way that has increased preparation time for counsels, reduced the hassle with voluminous physical papers, and allowed operating from the comfort of your home office, thus increasing productivity. Another subtle effect, specifically in the Indian context, is seen in the number of sessions tribunals can hold per day. Since tribunals in India have the habit of holding hearings session-wise, that is 2 or 2.5 hours per session, the increase in time opens up the possibility for adjustable schedules or holding more hearings in the same day. We will therefore see the key advantages and disadvantages of virtual hearings and then move into discoursing about its adoption rather than adaptation in arbitration. One can imagine that some of these features of virtual hearings have an amplified effect when considering international arbitration. Before I shift to various challenges and lessons learned, particularly in the Indian context, let me say that my experiences of virtual hearings are derived from various domestic and international arbitrations that I have participated in during this pandemic. Let me give you an example of one JCAA emergency arbitration, which I started doing in the month of June. That was under the rules of Japan Commercial Arbitration Association. This entire emergency arbitration was conducted through virtual mode. And when it came to the oral hearing, we asked for virtual oral hearing. Even that was declined, that request was declined by the emergency arbitrator. Rather, emergency arbitrator sent the parties questionnaire. So whatever dots emergency arbitrator had, all those dots and clarifications which he wanted were sought through in writing. Yes, one may argue that can one say that the arbitrator had really understood all the dots and all the issues involved in this case. In fact, I would say that asking for questions, sending questionnaires to the parties in arbitration is an old way of doing things. But I personally feel that instead of sending queries, which can be sent later after the hearing, so I would have preferred virtual hearing, and thereafter, if at all tribunal had any query, tribunal could have asked for this. But this was one of my experiences during COVID. Another experience during COVID was again one JCAA arbitration. It was a regular arbitration seated again in Tokyo, like the emergency arbitration. It was between one Japanese party and an Indian party. And there again, that arbitration is going on, and so far we have had all hearings through virtual modes. And in fact, we had related court proceedings in Indian courts, and that also happened through virtual mode in high courts at 2 levels in Supreme Court. Another arbitration I'm involved in presently is with a company based in Qatar. It is again an international arbitration. And there again, everything is being done by virtual mode. One case I would like to highlight here during my talk today is it is a power plant arbitration going on, and our claim is around 5,500 crore. Other side's claim is around 3,200 crores. And I have been examining an expert, delay expert, for last 12 days. And all the cross-examinations have happened through virtual mode. In fact, I am confronting the witnesses with documents which I am sharing through the video screening process, which every virtual hearing software provides. And it is going smoothly. Yes, off and on, you have certain issues with the Wi-Fi, if your broadband issue or Wi-Fi issue. In one of the hearings, for 2-3 minutes, there was power cut in the office of the presiding arbitrator, but it again got restored, and then again everything went smoothly. So if you ask me, I would say that this notion that the big hearings, big arbitrations cannot take place through virtual mode is more of about psyche, about the mental block one may have. Otherwise, I have done many arbitration. I'm just giving few examples here. And in fact, today itself, I have done one arbitration again through virtual mode, seated in Mumbai, and it was final arguments. Lots of documents were to be referred to, and all of this is doable. All of this is doable. Just that one should remove from their mind that big arbitrations or cross-examinations cannot happen through virtual mode. Now, when it comes to cross-examination, sometimes people say that what about if the witness who is sitting in his office or home is tutored? But again, for that, there are ways to take care of that. In fact, in one of my arbitrations, my expert, which I have cited for a delay issue, he has given his report on delay. Now other side has agreed to send their representative in Singapore so that he sits in his office. The other side also had some link in Singapore, so they have asked their somebody known to them in Singapore to sit in his office, so that it is ensured that it is no tutor. One is no tutor. In fact, the witness I am cross-examining and an expert, he again sits in his office, and I have sent my person to be in his office, and that is going smoothly. Another way of doing this is that you can have the camera behind him. You can have multiple cameras. You can ask that person to show entire room. There are many ways in which you can ensure that person is sitting all alone and is not being tutored. In fact, in the year 2014, I still remember, I was doing one arbitration it was ICC arbitration seated in London, and I cross-examined 3 witnesses in London during the cross-examination through physical mode. and one witness of the other side was seated in was in Sydney, and I cross-examined him through video conferencing in while he was sitting in Sydney. Now there the precaution we had taken was that under the procedural rules, procedure order of the tribunal had directed that the one notary would be sitting in his room, so that one can be sure that he is not being tutored. So there are ways how you can tackle this. Yes, sometimes people say that can you the body language and all of this, can you really understand the mood and all of this in the room? Again, I would say, if you have proper system in place and you keep eye on the witness, and tribunal keeps eye on the witness, most of these apprehensions will go. So I don't think one should really bother too much about this. And considering the advantages attached to this virtual hearing mode, another arbitration is where I am the presiding arbiter. Rather, there are two arbitrations I would discuss, where one of the parties is seeking to argue that he's saying that since other side had argued in physical mode, and so therefore I should also be allowed to argue through physical mode. And second point raised by the one of the parties is, and in fact in both the arbitrations, the employer side are from Jammu and Kashmir. They say we only have 2G facility available. They do not have 4G facility available. And on that ground, they say that we cannot hold the hearing, and we cannot have the physical hearing. We cannot have the hearing. Now to that, what is very important is to refer to one judgment of Austrian Supreme Court. This is one judge, which is the only judgment which has been rendered by any court of law during this COVID. This Austrian judgment said that when we talk about the right of hearing, right of hear opportunity, it applies to both sides. Only one side cannot see, because arbitration is supposed to be a cost-effective and time-effective proceeding. Now you cannot, in the guise of COVID, keep on asking for physical hearing, which you know that it is not going to happen very soon. So in that case, you are coming in the way of other sides' right of getting heard, and right of getting a fair hearing, and right of early disposal. So these are some of the aspects which one should keep in mind so far as advantages are concerned. Another advantages are concerned. Now, solving the paper problem. Now you are not cutting too many trees. Everything can be done online. Again, it cuts on the cost. Now travel time is gone, travel costs are gone. We used to travel all around the globe, and it used to really ultimately burden the clients. Arbitrators used to travel. You were wasting travel time. You were wasting time on other issues. So time is being saved, cost is being saved. So that is interesting proposition, and which everybody should consider. Scheduling has become simpler because people have got more time. You are cutting time on travel. Even in the cities, you are not wasting your time, and it adds to better accuracy. And so far as disadvantages are concerned, that you do not have enough institutional rules, though there are some, in fact, UNCITRAL model rule of 2010 had some provision about virtual hearing, and the challenges there are some challenges in the form of not being relevant provisions with you. And one disadvantage I would say is about the cyber security and confidentiality. But again, that is something which we can take care of. In fact, 2020 Seoul Protocol on Video Conferencing is very interesting document which you all can consider. ICC and AAA have also come out with some helpful notes and checklists. CIRB has done this. In fact, in India, Indian Arbitration Forum has come out with some paper on that. MNLU, Mumbai Center for Arbitration and Research, CAR, has come out with some paper. And the market for ODR services has been introduced in India with SAMA, CODR and CADR. So I would end by saying that the arbitration, this is the time when virtual hearing has become reality, remote advocacy has become reality. Let us gear up ourselves for this, and let us make this remote advocacy and virtual arbitration a reality in real sense, which is going to stay. And I must tell you that wherever I sit as arbitrator, in another arbitration, thousands crores are involved, and one retired Supreme Court judge is my co-arbitrator. We have decided that even after COVID is over, we will be conducting this arbitration through virtual mode. So this is something we have rather gained from these experiences of COVID,